What were the offerings made during the Feast of Tabernacles under the law of Moses? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Numbers on Walking Through the Bible. The glory of His cross. If you have a Bible with you, turn to Numbers chapter 29. We're going to be reading from verses 12 to 25. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Numbers 29, beginning of verse 12. On the 15th day of the 7th month, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work, and you shall keep a feast to the Lord 7 days. You shall present a burnt offering, an offering made by fire as a sweet aroma to the Lord. 13 young bulls, 2 rams, and 14 lambs in their first year. They shall be without blemish. Their grain offering shall be of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah of each of the 13 bulls, 2/10 for each of the 2 rams, and 1/10 for each of the 14 lambs. Also 1 kid of the goats is a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 2nd day present 12 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs in their first year without blemish, and their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, by their number, according to the ordinance. Also 1 kid of the goats is a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and their drink offerings. On the 3rd day present 11 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs in their first year without blemish, and their grain offering and their drink offering for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, by their number, according to the ordinance. Also 1 goat is a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 4th day, present 10 bulls, 2 rams, and 14 lambs in their first year without blemish, and their grain offering, and their drink offering, offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, by their number, according to the ordinance. Also 1 kid of the goats is a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. In chapter 28, and continuing on through the rest of this chapter, we have been looking at the regular offerings that were to be offered by the priests on behalf of the children of Israel. These sacrifices were not replacements for individual offerings of their sacrifices on their own. They were on top of that. Nor did these sacrifices remit sin, as the blood of bulls and goats could not do that. Only the shed blood of Christ could do that. We have found that there were daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly sacrifices to be offered. Each offering differed in the number of animals offered, but so far we've seen that if we count from the time of Israel was at Mount Sinai through the time that Christ died, and did not omit the time of captivity, that Israel offered 1,461,252 lambs, 63,597 bulls, and 34,017 rams and goats. That's a lot of animals not to remit sin, and we're not done yet. We now come to one of the most joyous feasts in all the year, the Feast of Tabernacles. The reason that this is one of the most joyous feasts is that it occurs at the harvest time, after the Day of Atonement, where sins are remembered, and so it is a time of thanksgiving for what God has done for them. It occurred during the same month as the Feast of Trumpets and the Day of Atonement, namely the 7th month, which corresponds to our late September, early October. We have studied this feast before in our study of Leviticus, so let's remind ourselves of what the instructions that were given there. Let's read Leviticus 23:33-43. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days to the Lord. On the 1st day there shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it. For 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. On the 8th day you shall have a holy convocation, and you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. It is a sacred assembly, and you shall do no customary work on it. These are the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire to the Lord, a burnt offering and a grain offering, and a sacrifice and drink offerings. Everything on its day, besides the Sabbaths of the Lord, besides your gifts, besides all your vows, and besides all your freewill offerings, which you give to the Lord. Also on the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruit of the land, you shall keep the feast of the Lord for 7 days. On the 1st day there shall be a Sabbath rest, and on the 8th day a Sabbath rest. And you shall take for yourselves on the first day the fruit of beautiful trees, branches of palm trees, the boughs of leafy trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. You shall keep it as a feast to the Lord for 7 days in a year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in booths for 7 days. All who are native Israelites shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. As we see here, the instructions in the book of Leviticus served as an outline for this feast, especially of the sacrifices, while the instructions here in Numbers deals with more specifics. As far as the sacrifices go, you'll notice that this was the costliest of all the sacrifices and that it required the most animals. Why would God require such an expensive sacrifice? Well, this is only conjecture, but it probably had to do with the fact that God had provided for Israel the entire year. So Israel was to be reminded of this at this point of the year and be thankful for what God had provided. You'll notice that with each day of the feast, the number of bulls required decreases by 1. When we're through, over the 7 days of this feast, we find that 70 bulls have been offered, a number in Scripture that represents perfection and completion, with the numbers 7 and 10 each representing this. Since 70 is made by multiplying 7 by 10, the number 70 also represents perfection and completion. So it's likely that this is the reason that this many bulls were selected. We only covered through the 4th day of this feast in this episode. So our running count of the animals offered stands at 1,544,076 lambs, 131,631 bulls, 45,849 rams, and 39,933 goats. We'll conclude this feast, the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. We hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Numbers 29, verses 26 to 40, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.